Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Charlie Fibrosis, and today I am doing a talk about video in relation to recent comments made on the Dale Jr. download in relation to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. So, to give a little bit of information in the background of it, give you just one moment, I am going to play a piece from Dale Jr. download and show you guys what is all about there.
Justin Allgaier, Hall of Famer.
No,
Not yet. What if he wins another championship?
I don't think Xfinity, O'Reilly, Busch, Nationwide should count. This should be,
Are you serious?
yeah.
Why would it not?
It's the NASCAR Hall of Fame,
yeah,
not the
it's
NASCAR
under
Cup.
the NASCAR banner.
It's not the NASCAR Cup Hall of Fame.
I mean, if you look at some of the accomplishments, it's not
Wow,
all
that
in
is
Cup.
that
Like,
is a pretty take.
that is really take. That's actually
A lot of nodding in here too. A lot of other people agree.
just
It's pretty
think
bad.
that,
That's
like,
kind of dumb.
It is literally not the Cup Series Hall of Fame.
But Major League Baseball
This isn't baseball.
includes everything.
I know.
Okay, well, this
that's Major League Baseball. They are literally saying this is Major League Baseball, MLB, the top. So the NASCAR Hall of Fame is Cup and more.
There's a lot of guys that have really great accomplishments that just didn't
That's
time
great,
out
but
right.
it's the Hall of, in my opinion, it's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of really good.
No one ever came in and said, "Hey, y'all, this is just Cup only," and you're saying that.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. It's not the Hall
Well,
of
that's my
Cup.
opinion.
What's
But you got
you're
to.
changing it.
I know you're changing literally what the Hall of Fame is. It's not.
Yeah.
You're asking me if I would vote someone in. I'm saying no, I wouldn't.
All right.
So I wanted to go ahead and play that so you guys at least had context because I didn't want to say anything that was not said and make it sound like it was said. Junior had the question of, does AJ Foyt deserve to be in the NASCAR Hall of Fame? And on that end, I'm going to say this. I look at it as no, not really, because his main success was not necessarily in NASCAR, though the NASCAR Hall of Fame does have stuff. It does make mention of drivers who are not in the Hall of Fame as like recipients, but they are recognized in some shape or form in much smaller exhibits within the hall itself or on a plaque. We're going to go ahead and look at something real quick, and that is the people who are on the NASCAR Hall of Fame ballot this year. And let's talk about the general aspect of all of this because it does tie into what the bigger conversation is here. All right, so here we go. For the class of 2027 nominees, it used to be 5 people that got in. Now they only do 3. So 2 drivers or 2 people from the modern ballot up here, and then 1 person from the pioneer ballot down there will get in. Modern ballot: Greg Biffle, Neil Bonnet, Tim Brewer, Jeff Burton, Randy Dorton, Ray Elder, Ernie Elliott, Kevin Harvick, Randy LaJoie, and Jack Sprague. These are the 10 drivers that are available for nomination on the modern ballot. The pioneer ballot is Ray Fox, Harry Hyde, Banjo Matthews, Herb Nabb, and Larry Phillips. Accomplishments of the pioneer ballots: I recognize Ray Fox, I recognize Harry Hyde, I recognize Banjo Matthews, I've heard of Herb Nabb, and I've heard of Larry Phillips. I think Mark Martin has mentioned Larry Phillips a good number of times. I can't remember if he was a racer or a racer and then also a chassis builder, but I am familiar with the names. Now, the modern ballot I am more familiar with. 6 out of the 10 people all drove race cars. They all were racers. Tim Brewer is famous for being a crew chief. Randy Dorton is famous for being an engine builder. Ray Elder, if I remember right, was more famous for being a crew chief. Ernie Elliott was more of a crew chief / engine builder. Let's talk about all of these drivers' accomplishments real quick, and you'll have to answer afterwards if they deserve to be in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. We're going to put Travis's statement up to this and see, why in the world do they not deserve to be in the NASCAR Hall of Fame? That's what I'm more flustered by. So, all right, so let's start with Greg Biffle. He was a 2002 NASCAR Busch Series champion. He was a 2000 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion. He was winner of the 2005 and 2006 Southern 500. He was the 1998 Craftsman Truck Series Rookie of the Year, 2002 NASCAR Busch Series Most Popular Driver Award recipient, 2000 Craftsman Truck Series most popular driver. He was named one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers in 2023, and he is in the West Coast Stock Car Hall of Fame. In his career numbers, at the very least, he has 19 wins in the NASCAR Cup Series and 13 poles with 175 top 10s. He has 20 wins, 14 poles, and 149 top 10s in the Busch Series, and then 17 wins, 12 poles, and 55 top 10s in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And remember, he's got 2 championships in those lower level divisions. Now let's look at Neil Bonnet real quick. All right. So Neil Bonnet was the 1981 Southern 500 winner. He was the 1982 and 1983 World 600, or the Coca-Cola 600 race winner. He was the 1979 Firecracker 400 winner. He was the 1983 and 1984 Busch Clash winner. Okay. He was named one of NASCAR's 50 greatest drivers in 1998. He's in the International Motorsports Hall of Fame. He's in the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. And was named one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers in 2023. And that actually does answer the AJ Foyt question. Most likely, Foyt is already in the International Motorsports Hall of Fame, and he is also likely in the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. That's a beside that I just wanted to say. He's probably already got allocates there, but I don't necessarily think he gets in on his NASCAR stats into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Back to Neil Bonnet, though. Neil won 18 races in the NASCAR Cup Series. He won 20 poles, and he had 156 top 10s. And in the Busch Series, he had a win, 7 top 10s, 0 poles. So there's that. Let's talk about Jeff Burton real quick. So Jeff Burton is the 1999 Southern 500 winner. He's the 1999 and 2001 Coke 600 winner. He was 1994 Winston Cup Rookie of the Year and was named one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers in 2023. In his Cup Series career, he had 21 wins, 6 poles, and 254 top 10s. In his Busch career, he had 27 wins, 11 poles, and 153 top 10s. And his Truck Series, he only had 3 top 10s, and I think he only ran... Yeah, it says they only ran 4 races throughout his entire time. And to throw into this as well, because it falls in with the 3 drivers that I'm kind of talking about, because we'll get on to Kevin Harvick next. Also, they have their run as being commentators or color commentators for NASCAR after their driving days ended or were in part while they were driving. So, Kevin Harvick, let's talk about him real quick. He is the 2001 NASCAR Winston Cup Series Rookie of the Year. He is the 2000 NASCAR Busch Series Rookie of the Year. He won the 2001 NASCAR Busch Series Most Popular Driver Award. He won the 1995 NASCAR Featherlight Southwest Series Rookie of the Year. He was named one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers in 2023. And on to his Cup career. He had 60 wins, 31 poles, 444 top 10s. Oh my god. He does have a Daytona 500 to his win, and he does have a championship to his name as well in the Cup Series. In the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, he had 47 wins, 25 poles, 261 top 10s. He also is a 2-time champion of that series. You look at his Craftsman Truck Series results, 14 wins, 4 poles, and 62 top 10s. I will also say that he did run races in the ARCA Menard Series. He got no wins. He did not win a championship there. And he got 6 wins in the ARCA Menard Series West Division. I know that he ran a few races there, even after he got to Cup, but 18 top 10s and 8 poles. And to give credit here, just to state my references, all this information is coming from Wikipedia. I'm pulling this information off Wiki. Let's look at Randy LaJoie real quick. Randy LaJoie is the 1996 and 1997 NASCAR Busch Series champion. He is a 1985 NASCAR North Tour champion. He is a winner of the 1997, 99, and 2001 Napa Auto Parts 300 winner. So that's the Busch Series Daytona race. That's the race that happens right before the 500. He is one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers. So there's a continuation here. Now, his Cup career: 0 wins, 3 top 10s, 0 poles. First race was in 1985 at Atlanta, and last race was 2005 at Martinsville. Did not run a lot of races, from what I can tell. Yeah, 44 races over 12 years. So not enough to really compete for a championship or have the success to be a champion. The O'Reilly Series, he had 15 wins, 118 top 10s, and 9 poles. Pretty decent, actually, in terms of the win number. So there's that. And then the Truck Series, 7 races run over 2 years, 0 wins, a top 10, 0 poles. And then the final driver that I want to talk about that's on the ballot is Jack Sprague. And this is actually someone who I was really hoping would get in this year, though I am fine with Harry Gant getting in. I think out of the two, on age, I prefer Harry. On stats, I prefer Jack. But Jack has the 1997, 1999, and 2001 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series championships. 0 wins, 0 top 10, 0 poles in 24 races run over 4 years in the NASCAR Cup Series. The NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, 108 races over 9 years, 1 win, 24 top 10s, and a single pole. It looks like his best finish points-wise was in 2002. He got 5th, apparently. Yep, that's exactly what it's going over. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the 3 championships, like I said, 297 races run over 13 seasons, with 28 wins, 192 top 10s, and 32 poles. So, that's everyone on the modern ballot that I want to talk about, because it then bleeds into this generalized question here. So, can you honestly tell me, can you look me in the face, and could Travis look me into the face, and look into the face of fans and tell them, you know what? Greg Biffle, for winning the Busch Series championship and winning a Truck Series championship and all the allocates that he managed to get into the Cup Series despite not winning a Daytona 500 and not winning a championship, does not deserve to be in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. To say that he doesn't is it's so BS. Because let's just be completely honest here, and this is just a general thing. There's a lot of drivers, and there's an existing precedent here that there are drivers who are in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Richie Evans, I am so sure, is in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. That never really went to Cup, or maybe didn't have the money to go to Cup, or just didn't have the interest to go into Cup, who are legends in their series. And what I want to also state is like, let's look at Ralph Earnhardt for an example. Ralph Earnhardt is the 1956 Sportsman Division champion, the 1959 Limited Sportsman champion, and the 1960 Limited Sportsman champion. So this is the point that I'm making. NASCAR has one of two things that has happened to it. There are either divisions that were created and then eventually died out and got replaced by something else. If I understand this correctly, the NASCAR Sportsman Division is eventually what the Busch Series became. And, okay, there's no equivalency to the NASCAR Truck Series, per se, because that was started up in 1994. But I look at it as a whole, and it's like, well, it's another tier of NASCAR. Like, all of these drivers have allocates to them. Whether that series exists or doesn't is another question, and how much weight and merit it holds. But that's just kind of the thing here. Like, I can't look at someone like Greg Biffle and be told you don't deserve to be in the NASCAR Hall of Fame because you didn't get in the a Daytona 500, or you only got Busch and Truck Series championships. Like, all these drivers, a lot of these drivers, some that are not even on the ballot, but were maybe on the ballot in the past, like, their divisions either got put to the side and retired, or they transformed into a different series and everything like that. But they're legends of those series and everything. And I don't understand how you can look at that success and just say no because they didn't get into the Cup Series, or no because not only did they not they got into the Cup Series, but they didn't have success in the Cup Series. And here's the biggest thing about it all. A big frustration point that I have as well on the NASCAR Hall of Fame is that I think that the Hall of Fame was introduced way too late in its existence. My honest opinion is that, I mean, thank goodness we have it now, but I think that they should have had the NASCAR Hall of Fame like ready to go back in 1998. And I think that a lot of the backlog people, the guys who actually I no longer see on the ballot anymore, I genuinely think like they should likely be in there because of their successes. I think that we shouldn't have had to wait so long to see like Ned Jarrett be in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Ned Jarrett would have been in the NASCAR Hall of Fame like probably its second year of introduction if it had started in 1998. So the problem is that the hall was delayed so long that I believe that a lot of people's accomplishments unfortunately got pushed off to the side, and they will never get the proper recognition that they absolutely deserve. But now that you've also truncated the amount of people who get in each year, which is a little bit of a problem, 3's too little, 5 is too much, 4 would probably be my slot in necessarily. But I could also make the claim if the nominees is a big enough pool, yeah, you could probably fit them into, you could make it a 6 introduction. The problem with it all is it's not necessarily the driver's fault that they didn't get moved up. And also, a Cup Series career doesn't necessarily, that is what gets you into the hall. To point this out as well, like, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is definitely in because he's Dale Earnhardt Jr. That helps matters, no doubt. But think about this for a minute. If we're looking purely on race statistics, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he is a 1998 and 1999 Busch Series champion. He's 2004 and 2014 Daytona 500 winner. He has 4 straight wins at Talladega Superspeedway. He has 2004, 2005, 2014, 2017, 2018, 2024. 6 champions as an Xfinity car owner. He won the Most Popular Driver Award 15 times from 2003 to 2017. He was 1999 Busch Series Most Popular Driver. He was named one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers. And this is ignoring the fact that he's already in the hall, but like, let's look at this too. 26 wins, 260 top 10s, and 15 poles in the Cup Series. And then 24 wins, 96 top 10s, and 10 poles in the NASCAR Busch Series. I want you to look at all of that information. And my question is well, okay, Dale Earnhardt Jr. didn't win a NASCAR Cup Series championship, but his numbers are actually pretty comparable, all things considered, between what a ratio of 631 races in the Cup Series versus 147 in the Busch Series. The numbers between the two series, at least excluding top 10s, is pretty comparable. 26-24 is even out 25 wins per series. There's 2 Daytona 500s in there. I can't remember how many times they won at Daytona in the Busch Series race, but I swear it was at least 3. I don't really understand how you can make the claim that even Dale Earnhardt Jr. doesn't necessarily deserve to be on the Hall of Fame, because You either need to tighten up what makes someone get into the Hall, which means excluding a lot of people that did make it into the Hall. Because if we're just looking at championships, okay, why is Mark Martin in the NASCAR Hall of Fame? Why is Davey Allison in the NASCAR Hall of Fame? If this is the measuring stick that Travis wants to use for all of this, it's such a poorly stated statement. It's so poor. And on one hand, I've been talking with my friends about this for the last few days, but it's like this more so feels like it's a rage bait statement. And that's really disappointing. That's really disappointing. Because I look at it and once again I go back to the AJ Foyt statement. I don't think that he necessarily deserves to get into the NASCAR Hall of Fame because his career stats are not wholly in NASCAR or majority taking place in NASCAR. But I will say that Justin Allgaier deserves to get into the NASCAR Hall of Fame because we already have set the metric of many wins and also a championship. And it seems like the guarantee to get into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, not across the board, obviously, but within some reason, or at least what gets you in on your first attempt, or around your first attempt, is winning a championship or winning a Daytona 500, or the equivalency of a prestigious race in that series, with varying degrees of consideration, I suppose. So on my end, I look at it, and especially considering how good of a season he is having thus far, and he could bump that up to 2 championships, and also Justin Allgaier is currently at 31 wins in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. I don't think he's necessarily going to get up to 40, but he could potentially get up to 35, maybe 37 if he really gets there, like really gets there. And if he wins the championship, then yeah, I mean, that would be 2 championships. It's not, I mean, for Pete's sake, like I'm looking at the numbers right now. Justin already beats Dale Earnhardt Jr. in terms of wins. He needs to win one more championship, and he ties Dale Earnhardt Jr. for what would be getting into the Hall of Fame, given just on his career stats in the Xfinity Series. Like, I look at all of these drivers, and they deserve on their own merits to get into the Hall based off of that, regardless of what they did in the Cup Series. Let's just face it. Making it to the Cup Series is not easy, and being successful in the Cup Series is not easy. You look at someone like Denny Hamlin, and he doesn't even have a championship yet, but he's got 61 wins thus far. He's got 3 Daytona 500s, and I can tell you without certainty that the first year that he is eligible for the NASCAR Hall of Fame, Hamlin is getting in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And actually, to throw something else onto it, because this is another piece of conversation, another driver to mention real quick as to like multi-series success, Kyle Busch also. He has 2 NASCAR Cup Series titles and 1 NASCAR Xfinity Series title. Something that a friend mentioned to me was like, oh yeah, Frank Kimmel, like, he should be in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. And I look at that and I'm a little confused. I'm not saying that's a bad take or a horrible take, because on its own, yeah, it was a feeder series, but in fairness to Frank Kimmel won 1998, 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, and 2013. The man has 10 ARCA championships. He has 80 wins, 503 starts, and 45 poles. That man did not do shit in the Cup Series. He didn't do anything in the Busch Series. And in the Truck Series, 14 races over 10 years. He only got 2 top 10s. But you look at it, and he has 10 championships. He beats Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt and Jimmy Johnson in terms of like their division, their series championships. And you take away the championships, I gotta be honest, 80 wins is still an amazing accomplishment, even in an entirely different series. But back on the whole point of it, it's like, I feel that a lot of these drivers should get into the NASCAR Hall. I don't necessarily know about Neil Bonnet, Jeff Burton, and Randy LaJoy getting in, but I will say that definitely Kevin Harvick deserves to get into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Greg Biffle deserves to get into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Jack Sprague deserves to get into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Like, my generalized question is that when you look at the legacy of some of these drivers, like Kevin Harvick, like Greg Biffle, like Kyle Busch, Carl Edwards, named one of NASCAR's 75 greatest drivers in 2023. He was inducted in the NASCAR Hall of Fame in 2025. If you want to look at the NASCAR Hall of Fame as a Cup Series exclusive, then there are drivers that should not be in the NASCAR Hall of Fame now that are already there. But how can you look at someone's entire career, their entire body of work, how can you exclude them with all the accomplishments that they have had? And as a follow-up, how can you look at some of the legends of lower series sporting in NASCAR and say you do not count? Martin Truex Jr., he's easily someone who's getting into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, but his career spans over a strong Busch Series career and a very strong, resurgent Cup Series career when he went to Furniture Row Racing. So that's kind of how I feel on all of this. I really think that Travis's comments were more so rage bait, trying to just get clicks and trying to get things stirred up. But I feel fundamentally that man is so freaking wrong. I feel that his take is so wrong. But I do want to hear from everyone else. What does everyone else feel about the whole situation regarding the Hall of Fame? What would be your requirements for a driver getting into the NASCAR Hall of Fame? My personal criteria is, did you win a championship in any of the 3 divisions? Or at least relation to what those divisions were if you're going back into the 50s and 60s. Maybe even 70s for that matter. Did you win a Daytona 500? Do you have a lot of wins? Did you have a lot of wins in a particular series for that matter? What did you do for the sport outside of racing in it? But I want to hear what y'all think. A, do you think that Travis was right in his assessment? And B, if you were picking drivers into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, my question is for you under this. What is your criteria for someone getting into the Hall and why? Thank you all for listening. See you guys next time.